Here are a pair of BMW flagships, the facelifted 7 Series and brand new X7.
If you were looking to buy a car or specifically buy a BMW in the older days, choice was relatively simple. If you were looking for a sedan, you had 3 options to work with. You had the BMW 3 Series, the 5 Series and the range topper, the BMW 7 Series. Then the SUV rush came along and choice became a lot more complicated. You had 3 more SUVs to choose from now, the X1, the X3 and the X5. But as more niche marketing, more segments have opened up, the lineup of cars in today's car makers, the amount of models available is mind-boggling. It's no different for BMW, to the extent that today they have 2 top-of-the-line cars that you can choose from if you want the ultimate BMW. The sedan, of course, is the traditional BMW 7 Series. That was what everybody aspired to if you're a BMW fan. But this is brand new. This is the new BMW X7, the maximum SUV. So if you're out in the market for the ultimate BMW to make your own style statement, we're going to try and find out which of the 2 work best for you. One of the most controversial aspects of new BMWs, however, has been their design. Now you see, when you look at the 7 Series in profile overall, it's actually quite a pleasing looking car. It's got the right proportions, it looks athletic, it looks toned down, and with this big 21-inch wheels, this car has quite a lot of presence. But there is a problem, and that is this, the grille. Now you see, for decades, the double kidney grille has been a BMW trademark. It's been a hallmark of their design. And with this new 7 Series and the X7, which I'll come to later, they've really enlarged the grille. And to the extent that it's really begun to dominate the design of the car. Am I a fan? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I think it looks quite hideous and I would like a much smaller grille. But as market researchers at BMW say, this is what sells in America and China, some of the biggest markets. How will it do in India? I'm not so sure. But I think this is going to be a polarizing aspect of the car. Otherwise, I think the rear end works much better, and let's have a look at that. Compared to the design of the front end, like I said earlier, the rear works much better. There's quite a bit of chrome, but it's been really well integrated. It's quite subdued that way, like the big exhausts and that chrome strip running there, that single big chrome strip running above the lights, and the darkened lights. So it's a nice contrast that works quite well. The car looks quite balanced. But also one important aspect, the car that we're driving is not the usual 730LD. That's the 7 Series that sells the biggest in India. What we're driving is the 745LE. This is the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid version. So one more important aspect of the car that you need to see, and I'll show it to you. As you would know, a plug-in hybrid has a battery power plant that supplements the primary engine and gives it better efficiency and range. But since it's a plug-in hybrid, it needs to be charged. This is the charging port of the 7 Series. You can use it to charge the car on a slow charger overnight. It takes about 9 to 12 hours. Or you could use a fast charger, the BMW Wallbox, which will take you about 4 to 5 hours. Now, if you thought the double kidney grille on the 7 Series was large, well, the X7 is setting new standards with the grille, which is even larger. I mean, it's huge. It's not something that I ever imagined in my 30-odd years of seeing on a BMW such an oversized grille. But to be honest, given that the X7 is a clean sheet design and not a facelift like the 7, grille actually is far better integrated into the whole design. Overall, if you look at the design, it's their flagship SUV. It's huge. It's a 7-seater, 5.1 meters in length, and it has the presence to show you. I mean, just look at the roof height of the thing. I'm almost 6 feet tall. I mean, I'm slightly shorter than 6, but yeah, the door opens at my height or slightly higher. So it's got the proportions, it's got the road presence with that grille, with these big wheels, and the whole, I think the design works very well. Now, if only had BMW integrated a smaller dill, I think I might have liked it a little more. But given its presence, I especially like the rear end. It's clean, it's simple, nothing oversized here, even the chrome is quite undertoned. It serves its purpose, and the X7 looks purposeful, stands out, And if you're going to be driving the range-topping SUV of the BMW range, it is making the statement that you want it to make. Now we've looked at what the design aspects of the X7 and the 7 Series are, and I'm sitting in the seat in which most customers of these cars won't spend much time in, but we're AutoX, driving appeal of any product, of any machine that we're reviewing or thinking of buying is a very important aspect. And in that, for the longest time, the 7 Series has been the benchmark when it comes to luxury sedans as far as driving appeal is concerned. Despite its size, despite its weight, despite everything, it's still a phenomenal car to drive. And with the 745 LE, I'm happy to report not much has changed. Since it's a plug-in hybrid, the 745 LE is powered by a 3-liter straight-six engine, turbocharged of course. It's paired with a lithium-ion battery and electric motor. So what that does is, this is an X-Drive 7 Series. Combined, they have about 384 horsepower. 600 Nm of torque, that's a big figure. That's as much as the diesel engine in the X7 produces. What that means? Well, 0 to 100 comes up in 5.3 seconds, top speed 250 km an hour. Only on battery, and this is a serious plug-in hybrid, so only on battery in ideal conditions on full charge. You can drive up to, BMW claims you can drive up to 53 km at speeds of up to 140 km an hour. The battery, like I said earlier, can be charged via a standard charger for about 8 to 12 hours. Via a fast charger, which is a medium fast charger, which is the BMW Wallbox, which is about 4 to 6 hours. Now that obviously the major push there is efficiency. But what this also means that this is not a run-of-the-mill 7 Series. It's fast, it's quick, and that instant torque, that really changes things. You can really go fast on the highways like I just did. And the 7, like earlier, still feels a very cohesive product to drive. It's fast, quick, it really responds to your inputs. The steering has a little bit of feel. The sport mode really accelerates the throttle inputs, the steering inputs, and overall, as a driver's choice in its segment, it's still the best car. But the real test in this comparison that we're doing between the two flagships is going to be the rear seat of the 7 Series. So I'm going to get in there and get a feel of what this 7 Series offers to the real customer, the guy who's going to pay for it and sit in the back. Of course, when you look at it as a luxury product, the rear seat of the 7 Series is an experience in itself. You get acres of legroom, you get some fantastic leather. This is an individual design edition, which means it's been customized by BMW. So you get this quilted finished leather, slightly off-white shade, you get this cloth roof lining. You also have a lot of tech to play with. So you've got these lovely screens, aircraft-style screens that give you the navigation details. You can check what song or media you're playing. You can check what setting of the car is like, and a lot of things. But the party trick of this, and I think for what a lot of people pay a lot of money for, is this. You press a button, the front passenger seat slides forward, goes down, and your seat goes into sleep mode. What that does, and this is akin to flying in a first class seat on a fancy airline. And like the first class cabin in the aircraft, you can put your feet up, relax, enjoy the massage that your chair gives you, maybe enjoy a newspaper, maybe check on your emails, maybe reply to some emails on your laptop, maybe finish some work. So that is probably the biggest appeal of a long wheelbase 7 Series for a customer. The other thing is that it's a really comfortable car to be in, and of course the quality. But can the X7 beat that with its rear seat? Let's find out right now. When you get into the BMW X7, I think the first impression, if you're used to BMW products, is of a feeling that you get when you enter your home. It's all similar, it's a little different, but it feels very, very familiar. And even though the 7 Series is right up there, their flagship and the works, I think they've made certain improvements over the 7 in the X7 that really sort of reflect. The cabin feels very high quality. Especially in the digital aspects, like the central multimedia touchscreen. It's bigger, the graphics are more crisper, the 360-degree cameras around the car, seem to be higher resolution. The digital displays are another sort of a different touch to BMWs. Some love it, some hate it, to be honest. Once I've gotten used to it, they seem absolutely fine to me, so they're not a concern. I love this matte finish wood that they've done on the interior. I think that looks fantastic. Even in this black, carbon black shade, it really comes out well. One controversial aspect of the interior, like the grille outside, they've done this high quality cut glass kind of a finish on the gear lever and on the multimedia control knob. To me it seems a little tacky, it seems a little try too hard, but some of my colleagues absolutely love it, so I think it boils down to individual taste. Now, one thing that I was not expecting much from the BMW X7 is the driving aspect of it. You know, this, like I said earlier, over 5.1 meters long, big, heavy, 7-seater. And I thought, you know, how could it be a BMW that drives well? And yes, that's where I completely shocked. Even with the 3-liter engine that we're driving, the diesel straight 6, 265 horsepower, 620 Nm of torque, it accelerates from 0 to 100, and that annoying bong is not my phone going off. This is the new 80 km/h speed warning that the government of India has ensured that every car has 80 km/h once, 120 km/h, it keeps repeating itself. Anyway, coming back to the engine, 265 horsepower, 620 Nm. Even this big beast goes from 0 to 100 in 7 seconds. The all-wheel drive helps, of course, but the big thing is that 620 Nm of torque is available from flat 1500 RPM, just above idle. So the car flies, the 8-speed gearbox works very well, and I'm really happy to see that the BMW engineers have paid special emphasis on the steering of the X7. So you finally got another BMW which has true steering feel back. You can feel the road. It's a really strange and an old feeling, and I'm really happy to see a steering that gives me accurate feedback, gives me the texture of the road. That's really enjoyable. But I digress. Again, we were here discussing which flagship would be ideal to buy, and I'm ashamed to say the X7, even in the 30D version that we are driving, the diesel, is exactly as good as the 745 LE. It's fantastic to drive. The big glass house really helps, and I think the driving appeal then is there's not much difference between this and the 7. So it boils down to 2 or 3 factors. 1, I need to get in the back seat of both cars, which I'm going to do very soon. 2, the kind of equipment they offer, and 3, the price. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to try and answer all of those questions and give you a clear-cut answer of which of the 2 flagships is my favorite. Now, given the small, access point that is between the rear seat and the third row, getting in and out into the third row is not that easy. But as you can see, even its full reclined position, with my seat position in front of me, I can still fit my knees in. There's a bit of space. My feet are still fine. And yes, the floor is a little high, so my knees are a little raised. But if it was a short journey for an hour or 2 or something, I don't think I would be complaining. 3 adults? No way. But 2 adults, 2 on this, 2 on that row, 6 adults, full size. I think the X7 is the best option that BMW has ever made. So it's decision time. We've got 2 flagship BMWs. I tried them from the driver's seat, from the passenger seat, tried all the features, tried the practicality. Which one would I choose? Well, it's a tough decision, but I'll lay it out very simply. The 7 has its strengths, especially the driving appeal. It's still a classic looking car, minus that grille. And the rear seat is something else. That airline style seat experience with the massaging function, the space, the opulence is phenomenal. But let's be honest, it's a sedan in India. On our bad roads, there's limited use for a sedan, especially that big a luxury sedan. Also, even the base model of a 7 in India is 1.22 crores ex-showroom. Hold that thought. With the X7, the pluses are you have enough space for 6 full-size adults. It's an SUV, it's big, it's butch, in your face, it's new. So you obviously make a statement as somebody who's got the latest flagship vehicle from BMW. That works to its advantage. Yes, the boot space is very limited with all the seats up, but I think that is something that depends on a user-to-user basis. But the biggest factor I think that really turns the screws in favor of the X7 is the fact that X7 base is under 99 lakhs. That's a difference of over 30 lakhs versus the 7. So as much as I love the 7 from my heart, if I were to pick from my brain and pick a car, or rather a flagship BMW that I can use every day in various conditions in India with full practicality, it would have to be the X7.
Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Jared heads out